Today we're once again diving into the Saturnine box from the Horus Heresy to build something in 40k for my Iron Warriors. We're taking the Araknae quad accelerator platform and building a Defiler. This big old turret thing is huge and silly, and I think can make a cool Defiler. A little bit better than the really old model, which, does nothing for me. Basically, it's a big round ball with a bunch of guns on it. It has these little legs that stick straight out and sits flat. But what if I take it and add a joint there and bend it and make it a little bit more spider-likey? Wow, that was seamless, wasn't it? Okay, so if we add a joint there, we can bring in the legs a bit and make it a little bit more crawly. Sand it down, get it nice and smooth. Doesn't need to be too smooth because I imagine I want this to kind of look like it's broken there. We take some polystyrene tube and try and find something we can jam in there and make it look like it's connected. Trying to figure out how to connect this tube with the leg pieces and hold it up and keep it all strong and supportive. So we go back to the old reliable, which is take some green stuff and super glue, shove it in there and pray that it works. So we do exactly that. I put a whole bunch in there and I use these various bottles to hold the legs in position while the green stuff and super glue hardens. Occasionally just adding more to really build that strength and strumph. The legs are looking good, but I need the height there, so I take this hole punch just to hold it all up and kind of just don't touch it. Just let everything dry. Put some little plastic cement in the pieces that are actually plastic on plastic, and plastic cement in the joints where the actual movable leg parts are to lock them in. While that dries, I take some of this flexible wire stuff from Zinj Industries and cut some little pieces to add some tubing. Now we've got the bottom and the top all finished. He's moving, he's crawling. Now we gotta figure out a melee weapon for him. This thing's got a pretty strong melee weapon, so I've got a couple options. I've got the little stabby tail things from Chaos Knight that I used on the Dune Crawler. These are okay, these are kind of hard to work with. You got this cool crane piece. Doesn't look super menacing, but I like this clampy piece. Claw machine looking thing and these chains. So I either want to put it on the front here or the back. Take some of our handy dandy glue. Glue the chains into place. I can kind of imagine that this shoots forward and drags its victims closer into it. Something like that. Shave it down a little bit and try and get this into position. It's hanging down a little bit low. It's almost dragging on the ground, but I think it looks kind of cool. Now the Defiler also has a little combi bolter type weapon. So we're just going to throw this on top. I think I got this from the Ridge Crawler truck, the Necromunda truck that I turned into my Raiders of the Rock Land Raider. That sounds about right, but that fits perfectly right there. And it wouldn't be my Iron Warriors without a whole bunch of chain. So we take this little jewelry train and glue it in and just start wrapping it around the leg and repeat on all 4 legs. I like some dangling wires, so we're going to place some underside here. Now I take the hobby knife and the drill and start doing some battle damage. Just some chunks missing, some bullet holes. Make it look a little bit more weathered. Alright, we're going to keep it in 2 pieces. Make it easier to do. And start off by priming the entire thing black. Covering up all of my plastic card and glue and green stuff and just gunk. Looking good. We're going to take some white primer now and start prepping the areas that are going to be hazard stripes. Then we're going to pre-shade this, undercoat, undershade, something, technical terms, with pink. Yellow applied over pink will make it nice and orange, so we spray this on the bottom parts. Anything we want to be darker and a little bit orange, real subtle, and then come with Imperial Fist contrast paint and spray this over this. Again, I don't know if this stuff is very effective underneath all the gunk and grime that we eventually put over this, but it's fun, it's cool. Makes me want to paint a bunch of Imperial Fists. I can't believe I said that. Okay, it's all looking good. We did a satin varnish over it just to protect it a little bit from the tape that we're going to place. We're going to start with the big ball joint thing in the middle, and this was tricky. I want kind of a chevron pattern, V stripes going up the side of it, and this is always finicky and tricky, especially on a round surface. But just go carefully and you end up with something like this. It's not perfect, but looks not too bad. Similar effect on the legs there, trying to keep the stripes consistent on the breakpoints. Now the tape is applied, so we can go back in with black and spray it down. Trying to be real careful, not blasting it to knock the tape loose or anything. Taking it nice and easy. Now the reveal, the demasking. Oh, that's very fun and very satisfying. Now we go back in with black and just carefully cover over anything that we don't want to be the yellow. Lots of overspray, but it's fine, it's all black. Now we're going to start off with Vallejo Dark Aluminum and just kind of smush this all over. Kind of dry brushing, but usually just a base coat staying out of the darkest parts. Do it to the top and the bottom. And then we take this Rusty Brass and pick out any parts we want to be brassy. Just random little highlighted parts, anything to kind of break up the pure iron pattern. Now I want to add a little bit of contrast before we do the all over wash. So we're going to take this panel liner and just dip it into all the little recesses and enjoying some sweet capillary action. Now the secret ingredient, contrast grime. Contrast rattling grime, that is. I mix this 50-50 with nice clean water and just start dumping this all over the model. Here's where I made a mistake. I think I didn't dilute it quite 50-50. It comes on a little strong and darkens the model a little bit too much, especially over the hazard stripes, but it's not too bad. If I really wanted to, I could go back in and fix that just by re-highlighting everything, but I don't mind it. Now to work on some more gunky griminess, we got the corrosion texture, and we're just gonna plop this in the random parts where I think gunk and grime and corrosion and rust would build up. I love this for texture stuff, and then I take dirty down rust for the colors. Kind of just slop this on over the same gunky parts, re-diluting it, smushing it around, smearing it, just having fun with it. It's a fun process. Now we're going to start doing the OSL. We've got a lot of hot guns, and we're even going to make the little claw thing in the front very hot. I went ahead and dipped some white ink into the deepest recesses of the heated parts, just to show that that's the hottest. While that's drying, we're going to mask it off using this masking putty, just so I don't spray fluorescent paint all over the model. Now that it's all masked, we can go back in with the airbrush and just start finishing off these glowing parts. Just trying to get some nice gradients and making sure the hottest parts are as white as possible, because we got to hit it with a lot of fluorescent orange ink. I'm actually running pretty low on this stuff. I used so much of this orange. Covers horribly, and I used like half a bottle on this entire army so far, probably more than half. So just go real slow and slowly build this up. And we go in with fluorescent red, go a little bit further away from the heat points, just trying to cool the metal just a little tiny bit. And then this pure red, this blood scarlet, this is not a fluorescent paint, so it should be a little bit less saturated, a little bit less intense. And we do this even further away from the heat, just to work on the transitions. And there we go. Now I changed this recipe up a little bit. We're going to go back in with the liquid enamel pigments, these fluorescent ones, and start building these up. We're going to dip the orange in there, let it dry, because this stuff is weird. It brightens as it dries. And then we go in with the light orange and do even more. And brighten it up, trying to make the, the inside of the barrels as hot and molten as possible. And then we can go back in with the thinner and clean it all up. Remove any once it's dried. Now normally this is where I would start to dry brush the metal. I would do like a dark red and then a super dark red, almost black, and then metallic. I haven't been liking how that looks. It kind of just dirties it up. I know it might be a bit more realistic, but I just love how bright and fluorescent this guy's looking. So I'm gonna skip that. It's something I could always add later if I really want to, but I just think in the past couple ones, especially my Abaddon, it looked better before I dry brushed it. So we're gonna leave that as it is. As a final step, we're going to go in with the pigment powders I usually put on the base and just put a little bit around the model, just because he doesn't have a base. Want him to kind of blend in, have that orange dust and bits of him to kind of work with the rest of the army. And there we go, my Defiler, my Warhammer 40k Iron Warriors Chaos Space Marine army's done. Made out of the Araknae turret, whatever the name of it was. I don't know. I never played Horus Heresy, probably never will, just because I don't have much time in my life for multiple games. But I liked it. I saw those big legs on this turret and thought, man, if I can turn that into a spider, it'll be a cool Defiler. I think the base is a little bit too big. Not going to quite fit on a 160mm base, but that's okay. I don't play tournaments or anything. Only casual games for me. I love how it turned out. I like that we didn't dry brush it this time. It's a bit plain like all my guys, but again, it's all about the effectiveness of the paint job. I wanted lots of metal? Check. I wanted hazard stripes? Check. And I wanted molten guns. Check. And rust, of course. Can't forget the rust. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. If you have any tips or suggestions. Next video is going to be back to the Sisters of Tzeentch, and we're going to get a little saintly up in there. It's a terrible hint. See you next time. Bye.